Victoria Eastwood is Middle East News Director for the Associated Press. She is in Cairo. Mark Polymeropoulos is a former CIA officer, non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, and MSNBC national security and intelligence analyst. Here in studio with me, Richard Haass, President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, senior counselor at Centerview Partners, and author of the weekly Substack, Home and Away. Okay, Victoria, walk us through what exactly we know right now at this moment.
Right now, we know that the meeting is underway, the indirect talks between Hamas and their chief negotiator, Al-Haya, and he is indirect talks with Israel's delegation. We know that is being mediated by Egyptian officials and also officials from Qatar. Now, as you know, Hamas has in principle agreed to the total release of all of the hostages, living and deceased, from inside Gaza. Up until now, they have never agreed to do anything other than incremental releases. So this is hugely significant. It is also interesting that these talks in Sharm are being attended also by very high-level dignitaries, including Witkoff, who is obviously the envoy to Donald Trump, and also, crucially, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who was the Middle East envoy. That really is just indicative of the fact that these are critical talks, and Donald Trump really has put a lot of pressure on Israel and also Hamas to get to this point. However, we have some serious challenges ahead, and these talks are likely to go on for some time. What they're doing now in Sharm el-Sheikh is discussing the mechanics of how to release some of these hostages in one go. Obviously, Hamas is not the only group that is holding the hostages, and Hamas has already indicated that some of the whereabouts of the hostages who have died is unknown. So they're trying to work through those mechanics. They're also trying to negotiate over where Israel's troops are going to withdraw to. Hamas will be looking for written guarantees, assurances from the Trump administration that they will get something in return for the release of these hostages. And crucially, other bigger questions remain, and that's not going to be discussed today, but will need to be resolved at some point soon, including will Hamas disarm? How will that happen? Will they agree to that? And also, who is going to run Gaza into the future if indeed we do get a deal in Sharm today?
Victoria Eastwood from the AP, thank you so much for that. So, Richard, just that laundry list of things that they need to be talking about. Even before I get to the idea that, while this is not an unfamiliar phrase to you, for a lot of folks, indirect talks can sound a little bit like telephone, and how does that work, and what are the dynamics of that? So help us to understand what's happening in Sharm right now.
All indirect talks. I mean, Israelis and Hamas officials are not going to sit down directly with each other. They'll use Egyptians or Americans or Qataris as go-betweens. There's a lot of history with that. That's not the problem. I actually think, surprisingly, there's a decent chance you could get some kind of a deal. We're not talking peace, but some sort of a limited deal, hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners being held by Israel. You'd have to get agreement, as was pointed out, about what line Israeli forces withdraw to. Obviously, there'd have to be a ceasefire. I think that's possible. I think if Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff get much more ambitious than that, they'll fail. Sometimes in diplomacy, you've got to go for a limited mini package. I think that might be available for various reasons. Israel and Hamas might be more prepared to compromise today than they were 6 months ago. And President Trump was clearly forcing this on both of them. But I actually think things are aligned. Not today. It'll take, whether it's days or a week or two. But, Chris, I think the odds are at least even that we get this kind of a limited deal.
So, I mean, certainly, Mark, release of the hostages, it may not be peace, it may not be a final plan, but it would be, besides as a humanitarian issue, incredibly wonderful and a win, right, for the Trump administration. But how does that happen? I mean, the earlier exchanges, as we said, involve much smaller numbers. How complicated could this be? And again, the second point that Victoria made, it's not even clear who has all of the hostages.
Right, Chris. The details do matter. And for example, Hamas certainly holds some, and these are hostages, both living and tragically some who've died. They have the bodies, but other groups may as well. And there's also the notion that Israeli military activity has to cease so Hamas can actually move around a little bit more freely. You saw actually President Trump quite remarkably after Hamas responded with in essence, a yes but to the framework. And Prime Minister Netanyahu already kind of behind the scenes was saying that Hamas rejected the deal. Actually, Trump came out and said, great, the Israelis have to stop their offensive activity. We're going to keep going here. And so there are a lot more challenges ahead. I think, and I hope, there's an understanding that this is not going to happen overnight. It might take, several days or weeks. But I agree with Richard that there's some significant hope for progress here. And look, the power dynamics have changed. There's a really interesting part of this in which, President Trump is imposing his will on Bibi. That's pretty remarkable. I think that failed strike on the Hamas leadership in Qatar, ironically, some of whom are actually at these talks, amazingly enough, that really angered the Trump administration, angered Trump personally. And in return, he's put a lot of pressure on Israel, pressure that we have not seen frankly, in quite some time or ever on an Israeli leader. And so there's some hope. We'll see in the days and weeks to come. One quick piece on this, and I know Richard understands this fully. It's going to take a lot of resolve on the U.S. to get past those sticky points. We can have a kind of a deal in the short term, but there's really tough diplomatic slog, things that Richard did. I hope the Trump administration has that patience and resolve.
Well, let's talk about just what Bibi Netanyahu said yesterday, Richard, which is pretty much what you just said. He wants to distinguish between a short-term deal that would get the hostages home and a long-term deal that would mean peace, right, in the region. And he said that it would have to include Hamas giving up its weapons. Let's take a listen to that.
I can't tell you if Hamas will agree to it. I think that it's possible. I hope it'll happen, but I can't guarantee that it'll happen. And so if it doesn't happen, what President Trump has said is that he will back Israel completely in acting forcefully against Hamas. Well, let's hope that we can finish it the easy way and not the hard way.
So if you look at, and I'm paraphrasing you here, if you get hostages, if you get some line of withdrawal, then you have to move on to what arguably might be some of the harder stuff. Does the first stuff give you momentum?
Probably not. I think you'll have Israeli elections sometime this spring. They're due have to be in 2026. What you're talking about, giving up weapons, you'd have to get Hamas to do it, and then you'd have to monitor it, and then you'd have to verify it.
And who does that?
Good luck on that. Just good luck. I can imagine Hamas coughing up a certain number of weapons, almost kind of a token amount, and saying, okay, we've now complied with the agreement. There's zero chance that you could find all the weapons that they've stashed away somewhere. Now, you can monitor whether they maintain a ceasefire. I think that's a more realistic goal. But what's called decommissioning of weapons is something that I was involved in Northern Ireland. It's just a very tough thing to monitor. All you know is what is provided to you and what intelligence tells you might be there. You never know what you don't know. So I would assume that no matter what Hamas agrees to, they have put aside some weapons for some future purpose.
Mark, if the hostages do come home, and we all have been praying, because it will be 2 years tomorrow, that they do come home, do you get intel from them, at least from some of them?
Well, there's always that notion. I mean, there's first of all the trauma. They will be treated immediately, right away. I mean, what they've gone through in captivity is truly horrific. But there will be debriefing sessions. There always are. Sometimes they can result in information that is useful, sometimes not. I mean, I think the Israeli intelligence services and the medical community will be very careful on this. I mean, again, these are people who have gone through kind of unspeakable horrors, but they will be debriefed. There's a possibility they get some information out of this, but of course Hamas knows this as well, and they will be very careful in their security practices on what they divulge to the hostages.
Let me ask finally about one other sticking point, Richard, that the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, talked about yesterday.
Ultimately, everyone has agreed, including Israel, that eventually at some point here, as this process plays out, Gaza will be governed by a Palestinian technocratic group that's not Hamas, that are not terrorists, with the help and the assistance and the guidance of an international consortium like the Board of Peace, et cetera. That is the goal everyone who signed on to this agreement has agreed to.
Mr. Secretary, but weeks, months, years?
Well, that'll take, yeah, no, in terms of, I mean, yeah, you can't set up a governance structure in Gaza that's not Hamas in 3 days. I mean, it takes some time.
Yeah, what about a return of a humanitarian structure for people who are still starving, who are sick, who are displaced?
Look, that's part of the checklist. One of the 20 points is to bring in large amounts of humanitarian aid. Another is to set up this apolitical group of technocrats who are going to run Gaza for a transitional period. Then the idea is ultimately Palestinians run Gaza. You also need a stabilization force to maintain order. So let's not kid ourselves. The checklist, this 20-point plan, 15 of these 20 points are incredibly ambitious. That's why the focus right now, Chris, has got to be on what's doable, getting the hostages back above all and bringing about a ceasefire. That's plenty ambitious enough for the next few days and weeks. The other stuff, you're literally talking about years, and I would argue in some cases decades, if you're talking about satisfying Palestinian political aspirations.
Richard Haass, Mark Polymeropoulos, gentlemen, thank you.